Hey guys, we're back. This time we're going to be taking a look at the Vulcan Faction Pack, Live Long and Prosper. This was one of the ones sent to me by WizKids to check out and show you guys the cool Fleet in a Box faction pack thing that they're going for here. And so far I've been impressed with all of them, and we'll get in and take a look at the Vulcan pack here. So oddly enough, the Vulcan pack contains 2 Federation and 2 Vulcan ships. I'm assuming there's Vulcan crew on these, but kind of odd to me. They have I think they only have 2 models for the Vulcans. You have the bigger class ship, and then there's a smaller like scout class ship. So we got 2 of those. We have a I think it's a Sutherland, but a Nebula class I think it is. And then a Constitution class. In here, we have 2 sheets of tokens. We'll get those punched out in a minute. We have our card packs. We have our pegs and hubs for the dials. And there's bases. And that's it for there. We'll get everything punched out and show you what it looks like. And there's a look at everything that comes in the pack, all spread out. We have our ships across the top here. We got extra pegs, got our maneuver dials, all our shield tokens, all the captain tokens, all these reminder tokens for the various cards. And I know I say this in every video, but I still like the older reminder tokens that actually have the text on them. And then on the back they say what they're for. These have an image of the card they go with on the front, and then the text on the back of what they go to. It just makes it a little harder, at least for me, to keep track. I don't use the reminder tokens anyway, but we have our missions down here. We have all our upgrades, all our ship cards, all our maneuver cards, and the ambassador rules card. So let's start off with the ships. We have the Vulcan Tacumbra class. We have the Kir Shara. And pretty decent stat line, I think. Really high hull for a... these are science vessels, I believe. But you have a tech upgrade, weapon upgrade, 2 crew upgrade, 24 points, which is pretty low. And when attacking during the modify attack dice step, if there's a scan token beside this ship, convert up to 2 battle stations into 1 hit each. That's kind of neat. Interesting ability there. With the lower attack value, you want things to guarantee hits. So I like the setup on there. I think you're going to be using tech and special upgrades to really make these ships shine. Next we have another Tacumbra class. It's the Bashar. Same stat line on there. Pretty good old 9 overall there. This one has 2 tech upgrades, 1 weapon, 1 crew for 25 points. And the ability is on the combat phase, spend a scan token beside this ship. The next attack the ship makes with its primary weapon this game, or this round, ignores defending ship's shields. So that's a pretty powerful ability alone. It's only a 3-die attack, but being able to ignore shields can be quite detrimental. Although I see that as encouraging players like the Klingons to keep their ships cloaked. Normally, I'd be inclined as a Klingon player or anyone with a cloaked ship to decloak, use the shields to absorb some hits at some point. If I know your weapon can go right through my shields, I have no incentive to decloak. I'll just stay cloaked anyway and get those extra defense dice. So that one I could see working both ways, but it's still a very interesting ability, especially if you're playing against Federation or Borg, or I don't know if that worked. Doesn't say it wouldn't work on Borg, but anything that's shield heavy, and being able to get around those is kind of entertaining. Then we have the generic Tacumbra class. You lose 1 of the shields, and on here you've only got 1 tech, 1 weapon, 1 crew for 19 points. Still not a bad ship for the points cost. You have 2 of those, obviously, so you can run either of those as generics. I like that they used all different artwork on both of them as well. Next we have the Nebula class, which is the Uss Tacumbra. And you got 4s across the board there, well, aside from agility, which is pretty nice. It is a science ship, so you got 2 tech upgrades, a weapon upgrade, 2 crew upgrades, 22 points. A lot of ways to build that tech and crew to do weird combos with it. It is dual faction, Federation, and Vulcan. And then on here, all Vulcan captains, admirals, and crew upgrades equipped to the ship cost 1 less point. That's kind of neat. You can really build around this, which I assume is the intent of this being in the pack. When this ship performs a scan action, place an additional scan token beside the ship. So you can put 2 scan tokens beside the ship. And there's various things you can do with those to trigger off interesting abilities. Kind of a nice ship. I like it. A friend of mine's a big fan of the Nebula, so I know he's going to have one. Then we have our generic Nebula class ship. You have only 1 tech upgrade on here, but 2 weapon upgrades, only 1 crew upgrade, 19 points, and it's Federation only on that. So not quite as useful. I like the named version better, but still 19 points for that stat line is not bad at all. And finally we have our Constitution class here, the USS Intrepid. It's nice to see one that's not the Enterprise for once. Lower stat line, but it is a smaller ship. You have still decent hull, decent shield, so it compensates out. 3 is pretty average for weapon. I think every ship in this pack has a 3. The Nebula had a 4, so. We have 1 tech upgrade, 1 weapon upgrade, 2 crew upgrades. Federation ships are always crew heavy because they have cool combos you can make. 20 points. This is dual faction, Federation, and Vulcan. And as a free action, you can place an auxiliary token beside the ship, target a friendly ship within range 1 to 2, place a scan token and an evasive token beside this ship and the target ship. So as a free action, but you're getting an auxiliary token for it, you're getting 2 actions for your ship, 2 actions for their ship. So you can do your normal action first, do that, you get 3 actions for your ship for 1 auxiliary, and 2 actions for another ship in your fleet. So can definitely be built around to be abused, I think. And then we have our generic Constitution class. And you're losing a shield on there, which makes it a little bit squishier. You lose the tech upgrade, which kind of sucks. But you're still getting the 2 crew, so you can do combos there. For 16 points, you can't argue that for 16 points. Even, like I said, the shield makes it a little squishy, but the extra hull, usually they're like 3/3 for a ship this size points cost. So, I mean, it's pretty average. Can't say anything bad about it. We have our base there for the Vulcan ships. I like the 180-degree front arc. It's really nice. Plus the 90-degree rear arc only leaves you these little dead spaces in the corners. Pretty nice layout though. And then we have our ship. I don't think much has changed in these. They're more of an orange now. They were a reddish before, I think. And the engine's got a little bit more highlights on them. Still a cool looking ship. Very unique. They could have done a little more detail up in here. Maybe painting some of those inlaid areas a little bit, but still cool. You actually have 2 of these, so your other one is exactly the same. I can see, like, this didn't fit on perfectly well when they glued it in place. I don't know if I can snap that on myself, or it's probably glued there now, but I'll see what I can do to try to get that ring and popped in place right. Sadly, the Nebula only has this 90-degree front arc. I kind of would have liked to see it with a 180, or at least have a rear arc. Very restricted on there. She's a big honking ship though. And I don't know if they've done this with all the Federation ships, but they've added these black and white painting to the windows. I'm not sure I like it. I mean, it's interesting, but I do like the new way that they've done the deflector. Kind of stands out. This one looks like a little bit of detail in there as well. Interesting ship though. My friend loves the class, so can't say anything bad about it. He'll get mad. And we have our Constitution class here. Again, 180 degree arc to the front, no rear, but not a bad ship overall. I like the little ship, though, as everybody referred to the original, the teeny prize. They haven't really changed the model much, though it looks like the engines are on straighter. I know my teeny prize, the warp nacelles are way crooked on it. They look terrible, but so the detail has gotten a little bit better on them, but still. Not a bad model, though, for Constitution class. I like that it's the one model they made tiny and tried to make slightly to scale compared to everything else. Then we have our maneuvers for the Dakar class. Not a horribly maneuverable ship. They've got one reverse. They've got up to a 4 forward. This part in the middle here is pretty standard. This block of 9. I think almost every ship has those. Any of your hard banks or hard turns are in the red. The fact that it has them, though, is still nice. No U-turn or anything like that. Nothing crazy. So pretty standard fare for a larger ship. You got 2 for those. The Nebula class is right in there, pretty much the same thing. However, it's a slightly more maneuverable on that these 2 hard turns are white. So other than that, it's pretty much identical to the Dakars. The 3s are red, the reverse in there. And the Constitution class here kind of throws things out the window. It has almost the same as the Nebula class, although it's like a quarter of the size, which is kind of funny. You give up the 1 reverse for a 2 reverse, but again, the same banks. Hard turn 3s are red, but the hard turn 2s are white. So not as maneuverable as I would have expected for a smaller ship like that, but it's pretty on par, pretty standard. Onto our captain upgrades. They give you just enough for the ships here. I did notice they don't give you any 1 skill captains, but I guess they assume you have them by this point. Let's start off with Murok. Captain skill is 7, 1 elite talent per 3 points. When attacking during the modify attack step, if there is a scan token beside the ship, you can convert 1 blank into a hit. If the defending ship has a independent captain equipped to it, you can convert a blank into a critical instead. That's pretty nice, especially with we saw a couple different ways in there between ships to get those scan tokens. So there's one of your options for using them. Pretty nice. Turning blanks into hits is nice on its own. Turning blanks into crits is really nice. Next we have Solok. Captain skill is 7, 1 elite talent. It's dual faction, Vulcan and Federation for 4 points. During the perform action step, when the ship performs a scan action, target an opposing ship with a face down maneuver dial, within range 1 to 2 here. Look at the target ship's maneuver dial, then perform a sensor echo action as a free action using the 1 template, even if you're not cloaked. So it basically lets you look at an opponent's dial, see what they're going to do, and then you can use the sensor echo to maneuver yourself. Kind of interesting. I like it. Extra maneuverability is always welcome. Next we have T'Pol. Captain skill is 6, 1 elite talent per 4 points. During the combat phase, choose an evasive or battle station token. You may spend your scan tokens beside the ship as though they were the chosen type this combat phase. So again, another way to spend those scan tokens that we found other ways to get. Kind of an interesting combo there. I like it. Captain skill 6 isn't too bad. So she's playable and probably use her. And last we have T'Pau. Captain skill of 5, 1 elite talent per 4 points. During the end phase, if the ship has a scan token beside it, replace 1 scan token with an evasive and a battle station. The evasive token and battle station token gained are not removed during this end phase. So, gives you outlet to use those scan tokens on if you don't use them for anything else come the end of the turn. You're getting 2 free tokens for the next turn for them, so that can be useful too. I haven't actually played Vulcan standalone, but they seem like a decent faction, especially now with these upgrades. On the crew upgrades, we have Chulak. 2 points, dual faction, Federation and Vulcan. As a free action, you can place 3 scan tokens beside this ship. Seeing a trend with these, they're very scan heavy. During the end phase, if you use Chulok's free action, you must discard a crew upgrade to this ship. So the trade-off for that. I like the free action to get the extra, but the sacrifice for it seems a bit much. Not sure if I'd use him. It's nice getting the 3 tokens, but then you need 3 outlets to use them as well. One being the normal scan use, but the other 2, you'd have to have other cards, maybe the captain or something to spend it with. Can be useful in a combo, but I think the cost might just be a bit too high for his ability. For my taste, anyway. Next we have Boric. Dual faction, Federation Vulcan, 2 points. When defending, place 3 time tokens on this card. Remove a target lock or a battle station from beside the attacking ship. Place a scan token beside this ship. That one I kind of like. The time lock of 3 kind of sucks for being delayed too long. Maybe a disable or slightly less time lock would be nice, but being able to remove a token from the ship that's shooting at you makes it interesting. I'm wondering if you could use that to... No, I don't think you can because of timing. I was going to say I was wondering if you could use it to stop them from using a secondary weapon by taking away their target lock. But by the time you're defending, they've already initiated the attack, which means they've already spent it. So that wouldn't work. But you can get rid of their target lock so they can't do rerolls, battle stations so they can't convert results. So still useful. I like it. And last we have Sabal. 2 points. Place the Stone of Go tech upgrade face down under Sabal for 0 points. During the execute maneuver step after the ship moves, discard this card and target an opposing ship within that range 1 to 2. Discard 1 tech upgrade in the equipped to the target ship. Flip the Stone of Gaul tech upgrade under Sabal face up and equip it to the ship, ignoring restrictions. So you can put a tech upgrade on a ship that doesn't have a tech upgrade. You're basically getting it for free at the cost of her. I'll just see what that actually costs. It's just 3 points, so you're making a deal out on that, I suppose. And you're getting the ability to discard an upgrade on a opposing ship that's within the range too. So interesting. If you're going to use that upgrade anyway, this is the way to do it. Next we have our elite talents. We have Live Long and Prosper, which I was hoping was the name of this when I saw the tokens that had the same icon on them. I was kind of hoping that was the name of the card. And this can only be used on a Vulcan commander on a Vulcan ship. 3 points. During the activation phase, discard this card targeting an opposing ship within 1 to 2. Roll 4 defense dice. If at least 3 evasive are rolled, the ship and the target ship cannot attack this game round. So it's an interesting kind of non-aggression pact thing. But you're rolling 4 dice trying to get 3 evasives. That's kind of rough. And it's a discard on you, so I don't know. It has its usefulness, but 3-point discard that has what are the odds of rolling 3 evasive on 4 dice with no rerolls? It's kind of a rough thing to do. If you have, I guess, the extra 3 points, you can't think of anything to spend on. I'm not sure it's one that I would use. Sucks because it's such a nice card, and I love the image, I love the title. Just wish it was more useful. Then we have Logic is the beginning of wisdom. Again, can only be used on a Vulcan captain on a Vulcan ship. 2 points. During the activation phase, target a ship within 1 to 2. Place a time lock token, continuous effect token, or permanent token from this ship or a card equipped to this ship onto the target ship, or a card equipped to the target ship of the same type. So it basically allows you to transfer detrimental things from yourself or your upgrades to a target ship that has the similar upgrades or the ship itself. Useful, the fact that it's reusable. Yeah, it doesn't have a detriment or a any kind of detrimental discard or anything, so you can reuse this. So definitely interesting. You could build up, I would say auxiliary tokens would work. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, the way I read that, I say auxiliary tokens would work. So you could build up auxiliary tokens on your own ship, transfer them to other people. Kind of an interesting concept there. Doesn't say it takes an action, so yeah, I don't see anything preventing you from doing that. But it could also be used on other things like disables or time locks, things like that. So kind of an interesting one. I like that. I'd have to play around with that. Next we have our weapon upgrades. We'll start off with Aft Particle Beam. This can only go on Vulcan ships. And it fires out of the rear arc. 2 points. It's a attack value of 4, 1 to 3 range. Place 2, as an attack, place 2 time tokens on this card and target an opposing ship. So it's basically a rear-firing weapon, which is kind of nice. It's actually more powerful than the forward-facing weapon on the Vulcan ships, which makes it kind of entertaining. Yeah, it's an interesting one, and definitely works with those Vulcan ships to get a full, almost a 360-degree arc because of the way their arcs are laid out. You're only missing those little slivers in the corners. Next we have the Photonic autocannons. And these are Vulcan ships, only front and rear arc, 3 points, 5 attack, which is nice. Has a range 2 to 3 though, so you can't use it up close. For an attack, if the ship has a scan token beside it, place 3 time tokens on this card and target an opposing ship. Convert all battle stations into hits. So it's a nice combo here. Again, using those scan tokens. Everything in the Vulcan fleet seems to be pretty scan heavy, but 5 attack is higher than any of the stock ships in this expansion. So pretty nice weapon overall. Just got to watch out for the up close range. If you're up close, your primary weapon gets that +1 anyway, so you're probably going to be using that unless they're out of arc. But nice one there. We got a bunch of tech upgrades next. What would you expect from a science fleet? And first one here is Catric Arc. Can only be used on a Vulcan ship for 2 points. When a Vulcan crew upgrade equipped to this ship is discarded, place that upgrade beneath this card. As an action, you can remove the card from remove this card from play and equip 1 crew upgrade from beneath this card to the ship. Discard all other crew upgrades beneath this. So basically it lets you save one of your crew and put them back into play, which is kind of cool. Next we have Combat Vessel Variant. This can only go on the Dakir class or the smaller, I want to say it's the Surak class, something like that. It's been a while, but the smaller Vulcan ship there. 2 points. You may not equip the Science Vessel Variant. Tech upgrade to this ship. Replace the ship's primary weapon value with its primary weapon value +1. So it boosts the Dakirs up to a 4. And I don't even know what the little ones are, but interesting variant on there. I like it, and it gives you a little more offensive capability. And we have the counterpart to that, the Science Vessel variant, again restricted to those 2 ship types for 4 points. You may not equip the Combat Vessel tech upgrade to this ship, and it increases your ship's agility and hull value by 1. So get more bang for the buck out of this, but it also costs more. But you're getting 2 points for 4. Normally, in the old days, the ship stat line was figured out by basically 2 points per point of stats. So this is what you're paying for the 2 points you're getting anyway. So balances out. Both are nice variants depending on what your build is going for. Those can also bring the Dakir class up to a 6 hull, which is pretty beastly. Next we have the Stone of Gaul. And I think this means that you can only put it on a Vulcan ship. Otherwise, it costs an additional 5 points. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm still learning these new symbols, but that's what I make of that anyway. It's 3 points. You place 3 time tokens on this card and target a crew upgrade equipped to an opposing ship. Roll a number of attack dice equal to the printed cost of the target crew. If at least one critical is rolled, discard the target crew upgrade. Otherwise, place a time token on that crew upgrade for each hit. So, big combo that can be done there. Great, another card for disabling or taking out crew. This works with that one, I think it was a crew upgrade, who allowed you to take this for free. So, interesting there, you're actually saving a point on this if you do it that way. So, interesting, another way to counter combos though. The range 1 is basically the limit on that one. Next we have translinear sensors. 3 points. When attacking during the roll defense dice step, if there's a scan token beside the ship, place 3 time tokens on this card. The defending ship may not roll more than 2 defense dice for this attack. This is great for cloaked ships or extremely maneuverable ships or anything with big bonuses to defense where they're rolling handfuls of dice. This reduces them to 2 dice. When you have a lower attack like a lot of the Vulcan ships do, you can use this to overcome like the bonuses of cloaking and things like that and lower those defense dice down and have a chance of dealing damage with your 3-die attack or whatever you have. So, interesting. It is delayed 3 turns on use. It does require a scan token, which a lot of this stuff does, so there's restrictions on using it, but overall, I think it's pretty nice. And finally, we have the Graviton Telescope. 2 points. When attacking during the deal damage step, if there's a scan token beside this ship, disable this card, add +1 hit. Pretty nice. Again, requires a scan token. Lots and lots of Vulcan stuff requires the scan tokens. But free hit for disabling this. Later on you can reactivate it and use it again. So, reusable. Definitely like it. Free hit. Can't complain. So, interesting thing. And the fact that you're going to have a scan token for so many other upgrades, you're probably going to have one by your ship to make use of it. And the last thing we have here are the ambassador cards. And I'm not sure if these are new to these packs, but they were new to me. They come with a rules card. Basically, you can have 1 ambassador per fleet. You assign it to a specific ship. Before the game, they have a terms and conditions on here that your opponent has to either agree to or disagree to. Depending on what they do, they get different effects off of the cards. If they agree to it, there's a section on the top here for agreeing. If they disagree, there's a section on the bottom for disagreeing. If they agree and later the ship with the ambassador is destroyed, they immediately suffer the disagree effects. So it's kind of an interesting concept. And they also don't count as a normal upgrade, so they don't take a slot or anything on the ships that you put them on. So lots of weird things. There's more and more of these I've been seeing to choose from. And there's actually no faction penalty for mixing and matching these on your ships as well. So the first one we have here is Bellar. 3 points. The negotiations accepted is disable an upgrade of the opponent's choice equipped to this ship with a printed cost of 3 or less, and an upgrade of your choice equipped to the target ship with a printed cost of 3 or less. Both ships must have an upgrade with the printed cost of 3 or less for this to be accepted. And then if they're denied, you can discard a crew upgrade equipped to the target ship. So, interesting one here. I think the way this is worded, I'm not sure. Like I said, these are new to me. But in order for this to be accepted, they have to meet the requirements. So if they don't have an upgrade with a cost of 3 or less, you can basically force them to do this one, is what I'm taking on this. So that's entertaining. I have to look more into that, but that could be abused. And last we have Sabal here. Love that character, I always have. For 3 points, the negotiations accepted. For the rest of the game, if this ship moves within range 1 of the target ship, or the target ship moves within range 1 of this ship, place an auxiliary token on the ship that moved. So this could be detrimental to you or them, depending on who does the moving. And then if the negotiations are denied, make an attack against the target ship with 3 attack dice that cannot be modified or re-rolled. That's kind of entertaining too. I see that as if they deny right off the bat, you get that free attack right at the beginning of the game. Though his effect isn't too bad where I see anybody accepting that straight off the bat. On to our missions, the last thing in here. We have the Assault on Andoria, and I think this pertains to an episode of Enterprise. where the Vulcans assumed that the Andorians had gotten one of the Xindi super weapons. And you're basically doing 100 points of Vulcans using only Vulcans. Must include at least one Dakir and one Surak class. Well, that kind of sucks because they don't give you a Surak class in this, so you have to own one on your own to even play this one. That's kind of silly. 70 points, may not use any Vulcan cards. Your fleet must have a hull value of 4 or less on all ships. And then you have the objective there in the middle. The Andorian player gets a bonus to their agility. There is a timer on this. And neither player can use mines or upgrades, which removes or places their ship from the play area. What else you got on here? And the objectives, the Vulcan player wins if they have at least one ship in play and all the enemy ships are destroyed. The Andorian player wins if they have at least one ship in play and all mission tokens have been removed from the stack, or all the enemy ships have been destroyed. And then, yeah, the number of mission tokens was on the first card there. I kind of skipped over it somewhere. 10 tokens. So you have 10 turns to complete this. You can adjust the difficulty by going 8 to 12. I think I played a similar version to that. I think the only complaint I have about this is that it requires you to use a ship that this doesn't come with. So that kind of sucks. I don't know if that was an oversight by them. Somebody wasn't thinking about that. I think you could probably do it using the Constitution class maybe as a substitute, but that's just rough on there. I'll have to check that because even I don't own that ship. I don't play the Vulcan, so I didn't keep any of my old Vulcan expansions. So I can't even play that one as written because I don't own the ship. So our second option here is Hold the Line. And this one looks like a Dominion, Federation Alliance. You're basically doing a blockade by the sound of it. And it is 130 points. Your fleet must include the Tacumbra with Solak assigned as its captain versus 130 points, minimum 3 ships. Federation team sets up. Yes, you have a blockade line. It looks like a picket line. There's special rules for a 4-player setup. I don't think they have too many 4-player missions unless you're playing 2 versus 2. So that's interesting. It is a setup for 2 versus 2 now that I see. And yeah, neither player can use the mine upgrades or things that remove their ship from play. Same as before. You win by having at least one ship in the area and all the Dominion ships are destroyed. The Dominion side wins if at least half of the ships in their fleet have left the play area through the south edge of the board. So yeah, you're trying to hold the picket line. The Dominion player is trying to escape off the board. That one sounds fun. We'll definitely give that one a try. I have a friend who plays nothing but Jem'Hadar, so. Anyway, that is a look at everything that comes in the Vulcan Faction Pack. Live long and prosper. Overall, I think as a standalone, it's a nice pack. Playable as it is. I like the dual faction ships to give you some more variety since the Vulcans do not have a lot of options for ships anyway. Though I would have liked to see, instead of the Constitution, a Surak class ship. So that you could have, play this mission. I think that was a big oversight on their side. But anyway, yeah, I think they could have got away with maybe 3 of these in a Surak class or something. Though I do like the Nebula class being in there. And it makes sense being a cross-faction ship anyway. But yeah, definitely missing the Surak class. That should have been in here. I don't know which one I would have taken. Like I said, I probably would have taken the Constitution out. Because you have the all-rounder, you have the 2 specialized ships, and then you'd have the smaller ship. So would have made sense that way. Not sure why they did that, but overall, it's still a playable faction out of the pack, I think. Vulcans are one of those oddball factions you didn't get in the original starter set, so you're not going to have any existing ships to add to this. I would say if you're planning on playing Vulcans and you're looking at getting this, definitely try to track down at least one of the old Surak class ships. I know some of them are hard to get, they're kind of pricey, but if you can find one, not only will you be able to play this mission, but it'll give you more options and more things to choose from overall. In the end, though, I think they gave you plenty of options here to make this playable. Definitely a scan-intensive fleet. You're going to be making use of those scan tokens for all sorts of things, but that's kind of expected. They are a very science-based fleet to start with. Overall, it's an interesting pack, and if you're a fan of the Vulcans, I think you're going to be happy with it. If you're not a fan of the Vulcans, you might be able to skip this one. There's not a whole lot in here for you. The ambassadors are okay. The missions, the hold the line mission you can do with any Federation, so that's kind of cool. This one has its limitations. It's not even playable as is, so nothing much there. Like I said, the ambassadors are nice. The Nebula class is cool and worth it if you're really trying to track one of those down, because I think the Sutherland was pretty hard to get at this point, and I think there was one other Nebula class that was like a prize, or maybe the Sutherland was the prize one. I don't remember. It's been a long time, but it's a way to get a Sutherland or a Nebula and add it to your fleet, as well as a variant on the Constitution class that's not an Enterprise. There might have been was there a Defiant? I can't remember if there was a USS Defiant Constitution class, but anyway, lots of different options here. I just wish there was more Vulcan in the Vulcan pack, I'll say that. But the fact that they're cross-faction, all your upgrades and everything, so it's going to be Vulcan crew manning those Federation ships anyway, which is why they're cross-faction to begin with. So that's going to wrap it up for our look at the Star Trek Attack Wing Vulcan Federation pack. Live long and prosper. As always, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.